Hello everybody. In this video I want to showcase one of our DevOps tools for operations and monitoring using Poly. And this feature is called the Error Handler. And the way that the Error Handler works is that it's basically a WebSocket connection between a process to Poly server that basically taps in and listens for events on errors that are happening within Poly. So the first thing to note is I've modified our custom service if you came from the microservices track to basically throw a 429 in the case that we receive an error from the underlying service. So it's just a simple check for a 429 and then it throws a 429 if that happens. And I've set it up so that this will trigger. And if you came from the integration track, same idea would apply to the custom function that we created here. I'm just going to go ahead and demo this with the custom service. It's exactly the same principle. And so we have the error handler here, and I just basically went ahead and set it up that I want to hear from functions which are logistics.orders, and this could be API functions, this could be server functions, basically anything that executes on the Poly server. And then I want to just go ahead and deliver the error and log it here. So very simple, few lines of code, and here I can basically fire it up. Error handler, and at this point it's established a WebSocket connection and it's listening for events. And then to trigger it, I've got a test error function that's basically just going to call our custom function that we know is going to throw the error, and I'll go ahead and fire that up by just doing tsnode test error.ts. So we can see that we've received an error from the function, we've exceeded the number of calls allowed per month, and then we're getting a 429 here in the response. And then additionally, the error handler, you can see, has received an error object, and the error object has our message that we threw with the error that we threw, and then it's got information. This is actually coming from the underlying service, in this case Postman, and then it also includes the status code that was observed. It includes the status text, and the function ID, so we know exactly what function we're dealing with, and we can also see the context in which it's executing. So here I'm executing these as a user, so we have a user ID, but more likely what's going to happen in production is you'd create a new application, use an application key to execute these, and we would see an application ID. With that information, you can do the appropriate lookups against Poly to understand what function this is and extract the metadata of that function, exactly who the application owner is or the user are, and you can use this information to do programmatic alerting, incident management, notifications. There's a lot of power because you effectively get to write your own TypeScript, Python, Java code to deal with these errors. You could even potentially do some remediation or trigger additional scripts to go collect information about the situation, like the environment state, health state, do health checks on the underlying API. So you have a lot of power on how to basically deal with errors as they arise, and Poly basically helps you have a nice structured way of kind of receiving those errors and then conditionally deciding what to do with them. So hopefully you find that interesting, and thank you for watching this video.